let's go on to meditations on the ephemeral, and let's just dive straight in and try and work through it as at a reasonable pace. And Andy might get to bed before midnight. Who knows?
That's not going to happen. This pack is full of too many good cards. There's no way we're doing this any justice. Yeah.
All right, I haven't actually seen many. I haven't actually had time to look through the pack yet, so I'm excited.
And an amazing pack name. I think the person who's actually named all of these expansions deserves a shout out as well, because all the names for the packs have been fantastic.
And that's not an easy job. That's not an easy job.
Oh, yeah. It's a tough one. Yeah. So, no, but definitely, I think the pack names have been evocative and brilliant for the most part.
I agree with that. I just like the word ephemeral. I've always liked it.
So do I. It just, really rolls off the tongue.
I'm not sure I'd say I've always liked it, but I will say now I've heard it. I do like it.
It's one of those words that it's good though, because it makes you. It's like easy to use, but makes you sound smarter than you are.
Indubitably.
All right.
Let's add
a little bit of gravitas to the show and continue. All right, a Legion of One, a 0-cost event for Lion, with 2 influence. Action: during a military conflict, choose a character that's participating on your side alone. Till the end of the conflict, that character gets +3 military. You may remove 1 fate from that character to resolve this ability twice. So quite an interesting one. Andy, do you want to take this?
Yeah. This is a massive swing card. This can mean that is it Steadfast Samurai? Is that the guy? Or Steadfast Bushi? If you're running him, you can basically, if you put 1 fate on him, because he never loses fate if you're higher than your opponent, if you're 5 higher than your opponent, you can put 1 fate on him. You can have him be a chump blocker, chump attacker. It doesn't have to be on attack, which is one of the great things about this card. I really, really like this because most of the things you have in hand as a Lion player will end up being on the attack. Your abilities on board, on the attack. So things like this, things like Kitsu Spirit Caller, the powerful things that you can use on both sides, super, super important for a Lion deck. And this one is really, really good. Like 6 military is a lot of stuff to get from just 1 card. So I really like this one.
Do you see people using this on their opponents' guys to remove fate?
You could actually, yeah. That's a risky one.
Participating on your side alone, you can't use it on your.
Oh, on your side, yeah.
So no, we don't.
Okay,
No,
interesting. So
I might
in combination
like
with blackmail, and then this. I'm struggling. All right. Anyone else on a Legion of One?
Yeah, I would say I think this is a good card in Lion. I think this is an amazing card in Crane or possibly Phoenix, where they struggle with military a little bit or sometimes need a bit more military punch. And this card is it's a massive boost. If you're going in, and often Crane do go in on their own with like a scout or with a cautious scout or with a brash samurai, and the ability to just go, I'll actually +3. And if I really need it, it's +6. And that's huge. Like, Lion are they're probably winning military anyway.
Yeah.
And they're probably not attacking on their own. It's usually a swarm. But for Crane or for Phoenix or maybe Unicorn, this is probably not Unicorn, but certainly the clans that struggle a bit to get stuff out of military and want to play a bit of a blitzier, fast style.
It works. It works well for Unicorn because they can
as well.
Unicorn can assign the 1 guy, then a Legion of 1, and then move in a 2nd guy, so they can get some play out of it too.
Lion have a very splashable set of cards these days. As Justin was saying before, Lion Splash is a pretty. I'm not sure if you said it here, but you said it before in other forums.
Yeah.
I would say Lion Splash and Phoenix is really, really, really strong at the moment. So
having played through all the different splashes now, the power level that's apparent between Lion and everything else. I mean, a lot of the other splashes are really cool and really fun. The power level between the Lion splash and everything else, though, in Phoenix is notable. It's notable. Also this is an awesome card, and this is another card that has the remove fate mechanic from remove 1 fate from one of your characters, which I initially dismissed as being utter crap. I think the first one was the Unicorn Straighten card. Which I've got the name of, something about readying. I am ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I initially thought that mechanic was actually pretty poor, but on reflection, I'm starting to warm to it an awful lot because it means you can front load, you can put fate into characters, front loading them to keep them around on the board, and then, I mean, certainly I think the Legion of One is a better realized design because it's optional. It does something, and then you can also do something else as opposed to the all-in requirement of I am ready. But as I said, it does allow you to basically load your fate onto characters, which is generally what you would prefer to be doing. But in a pinch, in a critical situation, you can convert that fate you can convert it back into a resource, because most straighten actions will cost you 1 fate. A Legion or I am ready costs 0, so you can basically convert one of the fate on a character. Essentially take it off them, put it in your pool, and play that card immediately, which is actually pretty strong and quite flexible. So, I'm definitely warming to this. I hope to see more cards kind of like this, actually.
And if this card,
really interesting.
If it didn't have that kicker, we'd still be talking about it in a similar vein.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. It's an amazing card.
This is Wedge from the old game. Wedge is okay. It's not quite Wedge, but it's in the same vein as Wedge. It's in the same power level for this game as Wedge was for the old game.
Yeah. I guess if you have one fate, this is kind of Wedge. So Wedge meant they got destroyed at the end. But yeah. So if you got 1 fate, you get +6, and you get destroyed at the end of the turn. So yeah. All right. Now the thing is, you're probably not going to play it a lot of the time. I mean, it's a really, really good card, but as we're saying, the Lion Splash has a lot of good options in there. Lion probably will only use this on the defense rather than the attack. Yeah. I'm still saying this is a really good card. I don't know. The card pool has come along kicks and bounds when we're able to say stuff like that.
It has, and all I'm saying is Fallen in Battle is looking better and better every day, boys. Better and better every day.
Stop it.
All right. Okay, let's keep it moving. Along the River of Gold, neutral province, water rule only. Action during a conflict at a water province. Choose a participating character. Switch their base military and political skill until the end of the conflict. And what are your thoughts? So water is,
Phoenix only, I believe. Phoenix have Keeper Water. Nobody has Seeker of Water.
Correct.
So this is Phoenix only. This is a really strong water province because this is, I think, the first province we've seen that has an action that can be used at a different conflict. So you can use this at your own water province. You can use this at your opponent's water province. If somebody had access to Seeker of Water, and honestly, if Crab hadn't gotten either Keeper of Earth or Seeker of Earth, I would have my third pick was Keeper of or was Seeker of Water. You can use this one to basically go, actually, let's swap the stat to the relevant stat here. And that's really strong. We've seen it on Yanako, I believe. The Scorpion has the same effect, and it's a really strong action for coster. It's strong. It's very strong. 4 province strength is perfectly standard. It's a water roll. It's water province, and water provinces are a bit of a mixed bag at the moment. There's nothing as dominant and scary as, let's say, or Shameful Display or anything like that in water. There is Rally the Cause, which is the default pick. Some clans are using Riot in the Streets, and they find it a bit awkward, but it's got some value. But this one here is really, really strong. And I'm coming around to, with Pathfinder's Blade being in the format, I think single-use firing provinces, you can't totally rely on them. And there are a chunk of decks out there who are just going to go, Pathfinder's Blade, whatever. Whereas a reusable action like this is much more likely to actually hit something. So that's good too.
Any other thoughts on Along the River of Gold?
Thematically, a beautifully designed card. The idea that you're using it at your opponent's water province, you can almost trace the river across the board. It's very, very pretty. I mean, again, this is another thing that the guys at FFG, people at FFG, deserve a lot of credit for. Is a lot of the cards in the cycle have been thematically really, really beautifully realized and designed. So thumbs up for that. And yeah, I tested this and played it out. It's sometimes really good, sometimes not all that good, but it's probably better than any other water province the Phoenix can play at the moment. So yeah, kind of thumbs up for it.
Does this make it into your Phoenix deck? Or would you prefer Elemental Fury? Because I imagine Elemental Fury would be a good one for Phoenix.
Yes, Elemental Fury is a very good one for Phoenix because there's nothing so sweet as someone running into Elemental Fury and you giving them water. It's the best feeling in the world. Thanks for activating all my stuff, dude. But that said, I mean, what Owen is saying is also correct. Like the one-off reaction on reveal provinces, they're fine, but after that, they just sit there waiting to be murdered. Whereas something like this can defend itself. Obviously, what you're hoping for is you're hoping for quite unbalanced characters to come in and attack this. Like, you know, you're looking for your Yogo Heroes to come and try and take this politically. No, you don't. It's not so great against clans like Phoenix and Dragon, which tend to be very, very balanced. But against the unbalanced clans, it can be surprisingly annoying at defending itself. So I'm definitely have to play this out a bit more. It's a card that really warrants further investigation, really, to figure out exactly how good it is.
And actually, one thing to keep an eye at is the fact that it is base stats. So some people get confused a lot with that.
Yeah. So base stats are basically the printed stats. So if you've got I mean, you know, if it wasn't base stats, this would be an incredible province. But it is base stats. So, for example, like if you have a 2/2 coming in and they ban Zayat, if you switch their stats, it's still a 6 military character, so it's still going to bust your province up. But if they're, as I said, if they're running in with like a 1/4, or if they're running in with a 4/1, you can just switch that around, and all of a sudden they're not taking. So it's
you can set it up yourself. Like when that 2/2 bonsais, you don't really care because your 2/4 now switches to a 4/2. So yeah, you can rely on your own characters. There's always options.
Yeah, absolutely. And Phoenix do have an abundance of 2/4s. So
all right, Asako Suki. 2 Fate, 1/2 Phoenix Clan, Courtier, Scholar, Shugenja, Water, with 2 Glory. Reaction: after the Water Ring is claimed, choose a Scholar character and honor that character. So a little bit of Scholar synergy. Justin, what is the state of the Scholar synergy?
Pretty average. Not all that great. No, I mean, I have to say, Phoenix have received some incredible cards throughout the cycle, and honestly, 2 of the best cards, I mean, probably the second and third best card after Prodigy are in this pack. Tsuki is jaw-dropping, absolutely jaw-dropping. So, yeah, I mean, you know, there's so Courtier, Scholar. So those are the 2 most important keywords for Phoenix at the moment, I would argue. The Phoenix Bushi are fine, but not great. Courtier gives you access to For Shame, which is a great conflict action. Yeah, Shugenja is the main one. But yeah, she's effectively a 3/4 honored character for 2, which is bananas value. I mean, she's the Phoenix equivalent almost of honored general, except she costs 2 instead
cost 2.
Costs 2.
Yeah, she's similar to the Karuma Defender, but she keeps on going.
Yeah. Obviously, as a 2-cost character, you're going to be a little bit leery of putting Fate on her because because she will be attracting assassinations, I imagine. But she's just the value. The value is just incredible. Yeah, it's so good. And she ties together a whole bunch of different Phoenix themes as well. So obviously you've got Phoenix are really Phoenix are fixated on the Water Ring at this stage, at least for Conquest decks. So she rewards you for pursuing the Water Ring, and she honors up characters, which is a reward in itself for Phoenix. I mean, she's a 2-cost 5/6 with the Stronghold. That's bonkers. You know. It's absolutely for no investment beyond claiming the Water Ring. So she's absolutely superb.
How many go into the deck? Is it 2 or 3? 3.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, look at that! Look at the value that Her at 2 is just so good.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you're rarely buying 2 characters that cost 2 on a single turn anyway. Just the way that, obviously sometimes that's going to happen. That'll be your best way of buying characters that turn. But for the most part, you will not be buying like a sway, like several 2-cost characters on a single turn. So seeing multiples, I don't think is that big a deal. And you just want to see her all the time. You want to see her as often as you can. So much value in that little package. So I would play 3 without hesitation.
Anyone else want to weigh in on Sakotsuki?
Oh yeah. Oh, and sorry. If I just want to say, if you want the absolute complete bullshit start, the complete bullshit start is Asako Tsuki and Prodigy of Water. Prodigy of Water attacks for the Water Ring. Tsuki bows to Benton's Blessing the Prodigy. Prodigy goes to 7/7 with the Stronghold. You claim the Water Ring and straighten Tsuki, who's now a 3/4, and you got a 7/7 and a 3/4 on the board. It's pretty good. So she's bananas.
That is bullshit. That is bullshit.
Oh, absolutely.
Apparently, hold on a sec. Oh, she also works if the opponent claims water.
Yeah. Phoenix have absolutely exploded.
Dave, that's such a great card.
In the last three packs, they've gone, genuinely nuclear at this point. And the Phoenix pack looks to fill out the last few small holes in that deck. So
you've what you're saying is you've finally mastered the high skill Phoenix clan. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. We got all the broken cards, so now we're all masters. Yeah.
And now I'm a Phoenix player.
Hey, Andy. Because like I said, the games I've been playing with Lion Phoenix, I think one of them's gone over half an hour.
Whoa! This is my deck, man. I'm in. I'm sold.
I'll send you the list. I'll send you the list after. Yeah.
But hey, don't Andy, don't settle for Phoenix yet. Wait till Owen gets a chance to pitch the new crab deck.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well let's keep moving on and talk about Beastmaster Matriarch. 4 fate cost Lion Clan Bushi, 3 military, 2 politics, 2 glory. This character gets +2 military for each ring in each opponent's claimed ring pool. Andy, do you want to take the Lion card?
Yeah, sure. This is just... I actually think... Now, this is kind of tragic, but I don't think this actually makes the inside of a deck. Purely because there are so many other good 4 and 5 drops. I don't think I'm going to be removing Honor General for this. I don't think I'm going to be taking out... what's her face? The Kitsu Spirit Caller for this, which is just ridiculous because this card is quite good, but it's just not going to be. Is it that good? Maybe it's not even that good. No,
it's not even that good in any world. It's not for any clan. This is a poor
it's
card.
True. It's just a poor card because it gains value late in the turn, probably after you've already done your military conflict. So it's probably not even generating much tempo for you in the first place. Really, the only benefit I could see for this card is if it's getting Spirit Collared into a fight or Ujiaki'd into a fight, and then why the hell are you playing this in your deck? You could probably bring something better in.
Yep.
Okay, seems like that's Beastmaster Matriarch in a nutshell. Then we've got Illustrious Plagiarist, a 1/3 for 4 fate and 1 glory, a Kurcher Shigenja heir. Action. Choose the topmost event in an opponent's conflict discard pile. This character gains each of the event's action abilities until the end of the phase. What are your thoughts on the Illustrious Plagiarist?
So, stat-wise, he's bad. He is understated for his cost. Mm-hmm. However, his ability is theoretically incredibly strong. In practice, what it will mostly do is you'll actually probably underperform for you because your opponent's going to sit there going, well, I'm not playing this. I'm not playing that with that guy. Like, can you imagine playing a Scorpion Mirror and one of you plays Fate Worse to Death with an Illustrious Plagiarist on the table? You're like, I'll copy that 4-cost action. It won't cost me 4 to play it, but I'll copy it. Seems like a good deal to me. So it's got huge potential it will probably not realize that huge potential because your opponent will not play that card unless they make a huge play mistake. But yeah, it's got serious value, and you could flip it on a turn, and you could hit some card that was left over from last turn before it was on the table, and it could be monstrous. So it's going to have big turns sometimes, and the rest of the time it's going to be like, this doesn't do much, and you don't realize that your opponent is going, well, I'm not playing that card because, like, you know, this would be terrible if I played that card. So yeah, it's I think he's actually pretty good. He's also both a courtier and a Shigenja, and that is not a bad set of keywords to have because that gates you open to some of the most powerful cards still in the format. It gates you open to For Shame. It gates you open to Cloud Mind. So yeah, awesome.
Any thoughts on Baz, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, one of the key things that the Dishonor deck that John keeps pimping does is every time its opponent plays a card, it plays a card. It's not really interested in winning conflicts. It's just interested in making sure that provinces don't break and that their opponent's slowly hemorrhaging cards, and this plays in perfectly to that. When they play a bonsai, you copy the bonsai, and then you trigger the effect. So you're not even losing a card when you're doing it. So I think there's great potential for card advantage there. That said, you are paying 4 cost for this character. So that particular deck likes running things a little bit cheaper, and you know, you probably want to put an extra 2 fate or maybe at least 1 fate on this character. So it can be quite costly, but because that existing deck generally is quite cheap, you might actually have the options for it. Yeah, it looks good. I like it a lot.
Okay. Next up, we've got Iron Mine. 0+0 province strength holding. Interrupt when a character you control would leave pay. Sacrifice this holding instead. Owen, Iron Mine.
What's funny about this card is Iron Mine was the old Crab Clan holding. That was the core crab holding for the crab deck, and this is identical to a card from Game of Thrones called Iron Mine from Greyjoy. With that little bit of trivia out of the way, this one is kind of ridiculous. So Reprieve is an amazing card. Reprieve costs 1, and you've got to play down the Reprieve before someone gets targeted by discard or kill action. This has no such requirement. Iron Mine's going to sit and play and make it so that, okay, you want to kill my guy? Well, no, I'm going to Iron Mine instead. Or, hey, I'm going to keep this guy around for an extra turn. I'm going to Iron Mine instead. This ludicrously adds value as both defense for high fate investment in characters, and it also means that charge becomes really high value. The weakness is it's got +0 province rank, so in theory you can go after the province. But hey, if Crab are going to get an extra turn out of a guy, Crab are totally going to defend this one. And if it flips in a broken province, well, it's going to be around for the turn anyway. Nothing you can do about that. And we also play Rebuild, so lots of luck. This one is going to end up showing up a lot. It is crazy good value. There is a balance needs to be attained in Crab about how many holdings to play. We think it's about 7 to 8 at the moment. We think it's 2 to 3 Rebuild. This one is huge value. Gets value out of cards like theoretically Raise the Alarm, but more likely it gets value out of Charge. It gets value out of the guy for an extra turn. Yeah, it's going to drive people nuts. People are going to hate this card. Hate it. And they're going to ask for like holding meta, which no one will then play because of this card.
Any other thoughts on Iron Mine?
Oh, good. I didn't miss anything.
It's incredibly strong. So with the dragon decks that were in the core set, we've seen that getting a powerful unit on the board and keeping around as long as possible is just really good. This does the same and more. Together with Reprieve and that 2-cost character they can sacrifice.
Vanguard Warrior.
Yeah, that's a lot of Crab not going away. Like, just when you thought you've got them down to 0 void, they're probably sticking around for another 2 or 3 turns between Iron Mines randomly popping up, Rebuilds dropping when you have to, a Vanguard being charged in just because. it's painful. It really, really is painful. I went in for an attack today on an iron mine, and I was thrilled when I destroyed that province, because it meant that the crisis breaker, who had like 6 attachments, was going away at the end of the turn, and then my opponent just rebuilt it into another iron mine. It was gut wrenching. Like, I was doing everything I could to get that character off the board, and there was just nothing I can do. This is a 3 of in Crab from here on out, and rebuild is going to be 3 of in Crab for a number of reasons, but if it only triggered the Iron Mine effect, that would be enough.
Alright, that's pretty strong assessment of Iron Mine. Alright, we've got then Kanjo District. Phoenix Clan holding, +2 province strength, limit 1 per deck, it's Imperial. Action, during a conflict, discard the Imperial favor, choose a participating character, buy that character, and move it home. It's also unique. Justin, Kanjo District.
Yeah, this card is bananas. This card is probably just slightly behind Prodigy the Waves as the best Phoenix card in the cycle. Yeah, playing this yesterday, I can confirm that this card is flat out busted. Once Phoenix control the favor and have this on the board, you are out of the game. That's it. You're done. Some clans like Lion, who can swarm, might have a shot, but if you're any kind of clan that relies on a big unit, that's it. You're out. You're done. The Phoenix will basically just deny you your best character every single turn, while demolishing your side of the demolishing your provinces with giant people. This can be used on defense. It can be used on offense, which is boggling to me. Yeah, it's just an incredible. It's an incredible card. Like, it in the games that it's shown up, it has literally shut my opponent out of the game when it flipped. So, yeah, and the additional thing is that once this hits the table, if you have the favor, this card pretty much guarantees you are getting the favor again, because they are not taking this province or winning that conflict. And yeah, it's crazy. This card just decides games on its own. It's huge.
But to balance it out, it's 2 province strength, which makes it a little bit easier to take.
Yeah, which makes it basically impossible to take. Because if you attack this, the King's player just says, "Nope, out you go." So I mean, you have to be able to. So basically, you have to be able to mount two consecutive attacks that are capable of taking a 6+ strength province through opposition. To have a shot at taking this off the board.
And if it turns up in your glory-only conflict province, you cry?
No, because if you're playing that,
as the opponent.
Happy sorry. No, ever taking that province. Ever.
I was saying from the perspective of the opponent.
It's happening. It's finally happening. Yeah, I mean, things like, I'm playing this, like, if this turns up in a public forum, your opponent, just cries, because then they have to break it twice to try and get
Oh my god.
So, and we've got Gordo asking thoughts on holdings for Phoenix. Well, Kanjo District and 3 libraries to start with. After that, I think you might run 2 favorables, or 1 or 2 favorables, but after that, I don't think anything else is worth it. So I think with Phoenix, you're running 4 to 6 holdings, this 3 library, and maybe 1 or 2 favorables. That is what I would run at the moment.
Okay.
And Travis is 3 library and 1 Kanjo, which I could totally go for.
So when you have this out, how do you play with favor control? Like, will you be leaving a character unbowed so you can use their glory to hold on to the favor?
Yeah, you play the board. I mean, the thing is that most of the time when this comes out, like, most boards are kind of 3 characters each. There's usually like 1 decent sized character and two kind of fairly smaller puds.
Yeah.
This will be used to control the big character, whether on attack or defense. And yeah, you play to control the favor once this hits the board, because it's devastating. Even if you're only declaring 1 conflict a turn, if you've got this on the board, it's a slow to the end for your opponent. Because I mean, the main ways to to combat this. You need to be able to swarm essentially to break this. Like if you're a dragon player and this is the board and the Phoenix player has favor control, it is hard times right away, because all of a sudden your main strategy of like, here is my tower, I am going to crush things with it, is basically negated. Need Master might have a way around it, maybe, but you're still getting. It's going to be so hard, because like you'll go in militarily and it'll just go Need Master, you go home and you bow now, and that's the Need Master out. And then in political, the Phoenix will defend this like an absolute maniac, because
it is also it's the double whammy, which isn't super common, of both bow and go home.
Yeah. And that's the brutal part. I mean, you're losing the conflict and you're out for the rest of the turn. It's, as I said, I mean, every game that's flipped up for me, it basically decided the game on its own. My opponent was just shut out of the game. They had no way back in. That was it. They were done.
So, out of things we know that counter it or stop it, so Crisis Breaker, I guess, is a decent one. There's that line action that we didn't rate.
Yeah, I mean,
not ready. No, not ready. There's another one that came in a recent set that didn't look great. Yes, test courage, but you still need to have your dial right for that.
That still won't do it, because that only honors you when you come into the battle. It doesn't straighten you again.
Oh, okay.
So that still won't do anything.
It's incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. The fact that it's limit 1 per deck is the only thing, I think, probably stopping Phoenix from running rampant over the entire environment. Actually,
yeah, that's scary. It's a scary card.
So this is another reason for everybody else to run the Imperial Palace, but not necessarily Phoenix.
Yeah, the thing is, I think with the Stronghold, you've basically got the Imperial Palace on a stick with your Stronghold. So you don't necessarily need to run it. And as I said, like I was talking about the Imperial Palace the last time, like there is always the Venn diagram in cards of like when this card shows up versus when this card is actually good. And for Phoenix, I think the Venn diagram of Imperial Palace and actually good is fairly small, actually. There aren't a lot of times when it shows up when you would have lost the Imperial favor otherwise. So it's not that great, I don't think. Having extolled its virtues previously, having played it more, I'm not so sure about it in Phoenix. But other clans might want to play it. I don't know. It's a really weird. It's a weird card. My initial assessment on that card was way off. I'm not sure if it sees a huge amount of play, but if you were playing it to try to stop this card, you wouldn't be wrong.
Okay, that's Kanjo District.
Kuni
Ritsuko, a 4-cost, 4/2, 1 glory, Crab Clan, Shugenja, Earth. Reaction: after this character wins a conflict as a defender, choose an attacking character, remove 1 fate from that character. Owen, Kuni Ritsuko.
So it's our second Shugenja. So we get closer to the time where we can actually play Cloud the Mind if we want to, and we'd certainly consider that. Now, she is our second 4-cost Shugenja, which has its challenges. She is not as good as the Vigilant Witch Hunter. That said, she is better than people think. There's generally a bit of, but Shuichi's better and the Witch Hunter is better. Why would I take those out? She is for a different style of deck. She is for a deck attempting to get advantage on the defense. And that is something that is worth exploring as time goes on. Her reaction is fairly restrictive. She needs to be there, she needs to win, and there needs to be an attacking character to remove a fate from. It's a strong effect, but it's a narrow enough effect. And she also needs to win. So there is potential value here in a crab deck. It is certainly a playstyle I'd like to try out. It is certainly something I'm going to give a go of. It's not as immediately powerful fire and forget as some of the crab cards. It's not as immediately like, rawr, I could definitely leverage this into advantage. It's going to depend on a couple of things. But I quite like her. I like the fact that she opens up Cloud the Mind at least a little bit. The 4-cost slot is not ideal. If she was a 3-cost 3/1 or a 2-cost 2/1, I'd be significantly happier with her. I'd be like, awesome, she's fantastic. The 4-cost slot is competitive, and you can't play too many of them. So I think that acts against her. But yeah, it's certainly worth a go. She will require testing, and she will require a bunch of effort to see if she does what we hope she does, rather than what she will probably end up doing, which may be not a lot. But yeah.
All right. Anyone else on Kuni Ritsuko? No. Mia Satoshi. 4 costs, 2/4, unique neutral. Courtier Daimyo Imperial with 2 glory. The Daimyo, the Mia family, interesting. Action, discard cards from your Dynasty deck until you discard an Imperial card. Then discard a card in a non-stronghold province you control, put the discarded Imperial card face up into that province. Baz, can you untangle this for us? Is there an Imperial deck with Mia Satoshi?
So right now we think that the best place for Mia Satoshi is actually in the Unicorn Courtier deck, which is something we saw for the first time in Madrid. I know it was popular on Discord before that, but that was my first encounter with it. So this is another Courtier for that deck. I know we've dissed cards before with 4 cost and 2/4 or 1/4, but actually this is a decent stat line for a character. It is another Courtier that they can play, which is great. The ability, essentially when you trigger it, there's a bundle of different cards that you can get. Imperial Storehouse is one. You've got those cheap neutral characters like the Mia Mystic, the Otoma Courtier, the 7 Guardsmen. The Imperial Palace is also an option in there. And Seppin Ishikawa is a pretty cool one. Seppin Ishikawa, we've seen before, is the 3 cost 2/2 that gets +1 for every Imperial card. So Satoshi is an Imperial card, so he'll go straight up to a 3/3, which is kind of decent. With the Unicorn, you get a little bit of extra value because while you're discarding all your cards, you are powering up your cavalry reserves, which is kind of fun. Generally, though, this is kind of a cool card. You are essentially getting an extra province flip, because you're able to cycle down to an extra copy of himself. So you can actually do it straight away. If your opponent has passed already, you can play Satoshi, trigger his ability, and then see what you get. You might get another copy of him, which essentially is a free fate. You might get another Imperial Storehouse, which is a free card, or you might, if you're playing them, get a cheap Otomo or Seppin that you can just pop into play for 1. So he is actually a really good card, and there's a lot that you can get out of him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does see decent play, especially in Unicorn, where Gaijin customs work nicely with him. It's all coming together.
Interesting. Any other thoughts on Mia Satoshi?
He's part of a hilarious...
Owen first, then Justin.
Owen, go. Yeah.
He's part of a hilarious attempt to make Raise the Alarm viable, where you basically play him, an Imperial Storehouse, and no other Imperial cards. So if they go into a province with a guy in it, you use Mia Satoshi to flip the provinces and hopefully get an Imperial Storehouse, put the Imperial Storehouse in the province, blow up the Imperial Storehouse. Hey, your card is face down to use Raise the Alarm on. It's probably... but, yeah.
Justin,
and he also allows you... Yeah, he also, if you're playing Lion, he allows you to vomit cards into your discard pile for...
Yeah.
So you can... Yeah, so... It's kind of risky. You don't want to be doing that if you don't have any Spirit Colors on the board, because you can be guaranteed that in the first 5 cards you'll be putting all your Spirit Colors in the bin. But if you've got one on the board, then he does allow you to basically just set up he gives you like a bit more choice in terms of what you like to pluck out and put into play for free.
Potentially a lot more choice. Potentially too much choice.
Yeah, absolutely. No other Imperial cards, just Satoshi.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you're Lion, 5 honor. You got that to spare. Just all in.
Yeah.
Like Ujiakis for days. I mean, actually,
that's not terrible.
Yeah, you can get a Jiaki.
No. Okay, well, but what you could do is you could vomit your entire deck into your discard.
Yeah.
Use the Spirit Caller you have in play to bring back a Spirit Caller, to bring back a Spirit Caller, to bring back another character. All those characters go on the bottom of your deck, and then your deck is nothing but Spirit Callers and dudes you bring back into play.
Oh my god! Yeah.
And like one of this in a
Actually,
coming to a Kotai near you.
God damn it!
Yeah, because I
We'd
mean,
have to figure this out on air.
Worst case scenario, you're just attacking and your last conflict, and then you just ditch everything and you're good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, apparently really, really good in Lion, too.
Who knew Kitsu Spirit Caller would be broken?
Yeah, who could... Yeah,
recursion. Problems with
Yeah.
recursion, never expected.
Absolutely.
All right. Next up, we have Mononew Aware. 3-cost event, neutral. Action, remove 1 fate from each character, draw 1 card.
Oh my god.
Andy, what are your thoughts?
Okay, probably immediately worth 3 fate. Also, like, this seems like a really good card at Lion. You play it before.
I think Crab. I think you're pronouncing Crab wrong, Andy.
Works beautifully in Line too. There's lots of clans who like this.
And
lots of Dragon. I'm sure Dragon is a clan that absolutely despises this card.
Yeah.
Anyone who wants to invest high amounts of fate in cards to stick around for a long time, if you want to invest in units, which, oh my god, yeah, a good point by John as well in the chat. In your face, I'm not going to say the words. Consumed by 5 fires. This is just a way better consumed by 5 fires for less cost, and you get a card with it as well. Yeah, it's very, very good. This is a good card. It's a good card to have in the game, I think. It's a really good card to have in the game.
Baz is shaking his head. Who's playing this card?
So lots of people aren't playing this card, quite frankly, for a number of reasons. But 3 of those reasons are Voice of Honor, Censure, and Forged Edict. Because it's a 3-cost event that can get cancelled, and that's horrible. That said, Crab, with their Iron Mines and their Reprieves and their Vanguard, thank you, and their Vanguard, like they trigger this and then they laugh. Because all of their characters are sticking around while all of that fate is going to waste. Crane possibly like it. They've got a small character rush deck. Scorpion like it. Again, they have a tendency to make characters that stick around for a turn, and they're happy to see Dishonored characters finally be play. Like there's lots of interactions. I mean, Dragon even like it because it sets up Miyamoto Retsugu. So there's some fun stuff you can have there. A Lion specifically are hilarious with it because Lion love it and Lion hate it. Because of For Greater Glory, if they play it just before Greater Glory, it's amazing. But if their opponent plays it just after For Greater Glory, there are tears. So I'm honestly not sure how this sits in the environment and how it sits in the meta. It is an absolutely shockingly fantastic card that can go either way, and I love the fact that you get to draw a card afterwards, so there's almost an incentive for playing it. It will be in decks, it will be in the decks you're not expecting it to be in, and you'll be yelling at the guy saying, why the hell are you playing this terrible card that's crushing me right now? I think it's a really, really good card that I hate.
Yeah. It's another thematically beautiful card from a design point of view. Just captures the theme of the card perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had some really interesting cards from really interesting neutral events over the last couple of packs. I mean, Mono, we had Waning Hostilities in the last pack. So all of a sudden, I'm wondering if we're beginning to see I wonder if we're seeing the beginnings of a real fate control deck that simply slows the game down, eats away at people's fate, and just builds a huge fate advantage over a few turns. I mean, their different plans can go about it different ways. Like Crab, obviously, they would be potential front runners in that. They're already good defensively. They have lots of ways of keeping guys in play when they don't have any fate on them. Phoenix could be a dark horse for a deck like that as well, because they have Fearsome Mystic who could strip fate off, and Mononew Aware who can strip Fate off. so they can push in different directions and hurt the board. So it's just really interesting. That's certainly the thought that came to mind when I saw this. And with Waning Hostilities in the last pack, is that there may be an event-based Fate control deck that simply strips Fate from your opponent while building up a reserve of its own, and then imposes its will in the later game.
Phoenix also have the I can't remember the name of it. The card that
K-Day.
No, the card that
K-Day?
you get the Fate that leaves when characters lose it.
Oh yeah. Embrace the Void.
That
Wouldn't this be good?
Not Embrace the Void isn't actually great with this, because Embrace the Void triggers once per turn. So if you're getting one Fate off a character, you're not going to be able to get it off at the end of turn. But yeah, just factoring into that, one of the big issues with this is its 3 cost. I mean, 3 cost is almost half a turn. It is pretty chunky. But it will be interesting because every clan, every game, there are moments in which triggering a mono no RA would be good for you. And the clans who are playing this and will be successful for this will be the ones that actually set up those scenarios. So when you see that crab player who is running the new Kuni, the Kuni Ritsuko, targeting your 2 costs or your 2 Fate character rather than your 1 Fate character, you better be sure that there's a mono no Ware incoming. So I think we are going to see some of the better players recognizing when their opponents are doing that, and setting up board states that minimize that damage once it hits, which will be interesting.
Yeah, and I think we're also beginning to see why there is so much event cancel in this game, and actually arguably why it's undercosted.
Yeah.
Because this is starting to feel much more like old Five Rings used to feel in terms of committing to battles, where you commit to battle, and once you do that, you are putting the game on the line right there. But I mean, it feels like it's starting to get to a stage where it becomes a game of bluff and judgment as to which events you cancel. Like, what is the vital event to cancel?
Yeah.
Is it actually really important that I cancel the Miramoto's Fury or the Banzai? Or is there a Mono no Aware coming in very shortly that is going to completely destroy my board position? Which do I cancel? So it starts to feel a bit more like, kind of like a samurai duel in a lot of ways, as to, which cut you parry, or when you parry and when you cut.
Yeah. There's definite risk assessments. Like, do I go for the high play mono no Ware that could be great, but if it gets cancelled, I'm losing my 3 Fate and it puts my board position.
You're losing the
worse
game.
Off.
You're losing the game if it gets cancelled. So it's really interesting in that regard. So, well, the thing is, like, if you lose 3 Fate, this thing is like, I think the tempo of the game has increased significantly since the beginning of the cycle, and I think it's getting to the point where if you lose 3 Fate, I mean, it's got to the point where I am actually now quite happy to see my opponent pay 2 Fate for display of power. That's how that's 2 Fate that they're putting. That's 2 Fate they're spending that they're not putting on the board, and it's kind of crazy. Like, the game has changed an awful lot.
Okay. So let's.
I will say on the sorry, Paul. I will say about this is another mind game of a card. You are going to
absolutely
thinking really, really hard about it. What's happening? When do we play it? When's the right moment to play it? And then if my opponent, has a counter, it's ridiculous. But it's also, this is design philosophy of the card, because this is the core element of the game that they were thinking about. The thing of the game fading away, and they included in slot 120 of the last cycle.
Yeah,
so it's also got a thematic statement to it.
Yeah, it's like I said, thematically beautiful card from a design point of view, and plus it's got, like, even with the draw card, it's also got the idea of rebirth and replacement as well in it. So it's just 10 out of 10, honestly, from that point of view.
Okay.
Super good, super powerful card.
Oni Mask. So Scorpion Clan attachment, 0 cost for 1 military, 0 political. Seeker role only. So can be played at the moment. Attached to a character you control. During a conflict, remove 1 Fate from the attached character. Choose a participating character. Treat the character if its printed text box were blank, except for traits until the end of the conflict. Baz, what are your thoughts on Oni Mask?
So originally I was quite negative on this card because I was comparing it specifically to Cloud the Mind. And Cloud the Mind is, in my opinion, much better than this. But on reflection and looking back at it, this is a 0 cost +1 military card, which is great. So you drop it on your character, you're getting an instant benefit out of it. You can spend a fate on your character if you wish to blank an opposing character, or to blank a character's text box during a conflict. So initially I thought it was opposing, but you don't have to be in that conflict. You just have to have fate, and then you can trigger this to blank any character. So there's a few elements of play there that are significant. It does mean, because it's attachment, it sticks around as long as the character sticks around. So chances are you're going to bring this into play. At best, it's probably going to go onto a character with 2 fate. So you're going to only get 1 use out of it, because the turn you play it, you're going to spend a fate, and then at the end of that turn, that fate's going to go. So it is pretty much a 1-use card, but it still is getting you +1 military. Sometimes you will drop a Cloud the Mind onto a character with 0 fate on it, in which case this is similar if you can get the right kind of tempo. So if you're on the defense and it's a conflict only action that they have, this doesn't require a Shigenja. So for clans who are splashing Scorpion, or for Scorpion if they really hone their deck and end up not playing any Shigenjas for some crazy reason, this would be an option. So it is better, I think, than I was originally giving it credit to, but it is worse than Cloud the Mind in many regards, and that for Scorpion means it's not going to be played largely.
Any other thoughts on Oni Mask?
It's good with conflict characters because you can assess the board, play a guy down with some extra fate on him, and drop an Oni Mask on him, and go to work. Doesn't need to be used on a guy. The guy doesn't need to be in conflict takes action. It's on demand, and when you look at some of the magistrates in this cycle, the ability to deal with them if you can't run Cloud the Mind is not to be underestimated. You know, it's awkward, I'll grant you, but it provides for a very small pool of clans who can't run enough Shigenja. If they're also the Seeker role, hey, they've got this as an option, which isn't many, to be honest. Certainly worth considering.
Cool. Okay, next up we've got Pillow Book, a Crane Clan attachment, which is 0 cost and gives you 0/0. And the action: while the attached character is participating in a conflict, reveal the top card of your conflict deck until the end of the conflict. While it remains revealed, you may play that card as if it were in your hand. Justin, what are your thoughts on Pillow Book?
Dirty. It's another. Okay, so basically, it's the crane holding on an attachment. So So no, again, like thematically, actually, this is this is a really saucy card. It's like you're furtively revealing something. Ooh, look what I got. Then maybe later you're slapping it right out on the table and just going there. That's what I got. It is unquestionably the sexiest card in 5 rings at the moment. Unquestionably.
Pacheco says no.
No way. It's all the way.
Literally more revealing than Pacheco.
Yeah, actually, way more revealing than Pacheco. No, this is the sexiest. This is the sexiest card. I mean, you could argue, Pacheco with a Pillow Book. I'll grant you that. But
Andy,
in terms of mechanics,
is that any good?
It's more.
I'll leave Justin to himself. I think he needs a moment to and a cold shower.
I mean, sure. Of course it's good. God, it's an extra card in hand. It could be an extra conflict character. It's an extra action. It's an extra cancel. I mean,
could be both.
It could be both. It could be a boat. It could be a boat.
Yeah. Could be a mantis.
It could be anything.
Yeah, I think the real question comes down to is a fate slot worth more than a dynasty slot for the holding? Like, is the holding as a dynasty slot worth more than a fate slot for this, or a conflict slot? And I think conflict slots are more hotly contested. So I think in a strict face-off, the holding is probably has a lower opportunity cost than the pillow book. So in a straight face-off, I think the Academy is probably just slightly better.
I would disagree on that.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, and actually, I was going to get to that, but actually, because you can put this on a character with fate, so it's going to stick around for a bunch of turns while the Academy is clogging up a province. Yeah, swings and roundabouts. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I agree with your assessment of it, that conflict cards are going to be a lot more hotly contested. I think in Crane especially, they're going to have a lot of quality things they can put in there, and this probably just doesn't make the grade.
So one of the things about this in comparison to the Academy, the wording is actually different. And this is only in a conflict, whereas the Academy is during the conflict phase. And that's a pretty important distinction when you flip a bonsai in a political conflict, and you're like, ugh, that's dead.
Oh, wow. No, sorry. That makes this card garbage. Sorry. Yeah, no, this card's poor.
It's not quite garbage, but...
It's lazy reading on my part. I thought it was the same thing. I thought it was the conflict phase. No. That's not.
But hold on.
If it's just the conflict...
If it flips itself, you can play another pillow book, and then you can pillow book again and get another pillow book. It's deck thinning, man. It's really, really good.
Yeah, and that is actually really good if that works.
If you have stacked your deck.
Correct.
You can have all your characters whispering erotic stories to each other across the board.
No, it's you actually stack it onto the same character. You just have 3 pillow books so that they're really, really snug and it's just Kakita Yoshi on this bed of pillows.
This bed of petals and pillow books.
So it is notable that for Crane typically run events, and this is not an event. This is an item. So this attachment doesn't actually particularly like Test of Skill, because with Test of Skill, you're probably going to name event, and then if you see a bunch of pillow books, you're swearing at it. So that's a little frustrating.
Stupid book.
Also, if you compare it to Spyglass, once you get 3 Spyglasses down, you just like sweep them all up and you get them to hand. It's fantastic. But if you flip, as we said, a bonsai with pillow book, you're like, okay, I need to get into a military conflict before I can use that and activate the other pillow book, which can be a bit awkward, especially when you get into that military conflict.
Which is clearly why you're splashing unicorn in your. That's clearly why you're splashing unicorn in your Crane deck, so you can captive audience the second your pillow book flips a bonsai.
It's a clutch play.
Do I have to think of everything?
But possibly a deck that doesn't really care and can play everything all the time would benefit more from this. So
the lion.
Lion would bet.
Yeah. I was thinking more an attachment deck. So a deck that can basically drop an attachment anytime. But
guys,
that's fate limited. So
Gordo has come up with a good point. I said bad immediately because it was Gordo. Sorry.
Obviously.
This is a hugely entertaining card. You shut up, Gordon.
It's a lot of time spent on a bad card. It's not a bad card. It's a very fun card.
So we accept feedback, and the last feedback we got was that we should look for the opportunities in cards rather than just dismissing them. So that's what we're doing here, Gordo. We're looking out for you.
Okay, Sake has Confidant. A 2-cost 1/1.
Trash card. Move on.
Yeah, move on.
Oh dear. While this character is participating in a conflict, discard the Imperial favor. Each Shinobi character you control gets +2 political until the end of the conflict. Is there a Shinobi deck for Sake's Confidant? Owen?
No.
Okay.
Here's the problem, right? it pumps the wrong stat.
Yeah.
If this pumped military, Scorpion could consider this, right? They don't need more politics most of the time. And especially in their shinobi, who are a really weird mix anyway. They probably think like, hey, the Scorpion would actually like, hey, we love our courtiers to be high politics and our shinobi, who are our conflict guys, to be high military, so we can, give it a bit of left, give it a bit of the right, But this guy, no, she doesn't help at all. You have to have the favor, which isn't impossible for Scorpion. If they include the right card, it's fine. But why do the shinobi then need politics? If it was +2/+2, we'd be off to the races. If it was +2 military, they'd certainly consider it. But this is an way understated 2-drop in the incredibly competitive Scorpion 2-drop slot with a very restricted ability that you would just do better if you played. They've got a 1/3 2-drop. Why do you want to play this 1/1 to pitch the favor to give her, to make her 3 drop, and other ones go up to 3 as well? Oh no, it's not good. Not good.
She is.
Dave's gonna play it because it says Shinobi on it.
And it's a bit of a shame because she has excellent flavor text. Would you like to concede? Turns out you would if you're playing Sake's Confidant. Seal of the Dragon. A dragon attachment item seal, 0 cost, 0/1, and gives the dragon symbol and the monk trait. How does this seal stack up, Baz?
Just like all the others. They're all largely terrible. There's a few of them where you'll look at it and you'll go, that looks pretty good. For Dragon, the ones of note are the Ascetic, who can straighten a character. You can pay 1 fate onto a ring to straighten a character with the monk or tattoo trait. And you also have the new centipede tattoo, where it can only be played on a monk character. So with the seal, you can drop the centipede tattoo. So centipede tattoo, if you're losing a conflict, you don't bow at the end of it, which is actually really, really good. Whether it's worth playing this, no, I don't think it is. Obviously, there's actually, I guess for this one compared to the others, there are a bundle of extra cards that you can look at. You can also look at High Kick, and you can look at all the mantras, and we're going to get more monk cards, probably more than we're going to get scholar cards, to be quite honest. But I'm not sure it's going to see play. I don't think it's great, but it's just another seal. It's no change for anything else.
Okay. Speaking of just of the seal of the unicorn, which is 0 cost +1/+0, gives unicorn symbol and cavalry. Andy, is this better than the other seals? Anyway, no. Head shake.
Head shake.
Some people listen to this in podcast form, Andy.
The silence is deafening.
It triggers a stronghold. That's something.
Yeah, it's probably more useful. It is more useful than the others, to be fair. Still not useful, but more useful than the others.
It does let you play Shinjo Saddle, which is a key card in Unicorn.
Key card. That's the one that bounces around, right? That's the
one that you concede the game for playing it. Yeah, that one.
Stop
Love
being
that
so
card.
goddamn negative.
Sorry.
God.
Hold on, let me put money in the negativity jar.
Shinjo Scout. So 2 fate cost, 2/1. With 1 glory, a Bushi Cavalry Scout. Reaction: after you gain fate for passing in the Dynasty phase, gain 1 fate. Justin, how is Shinjo Scout?
Amazing!
great
Holy
card.
shit! Did we ever think it's a fantastic card. Fantastic card. Okay, so 2/1 for 2. That's fairly standard. 1 glory. There's nothing special about that. But notably, this is a cavalry card, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
The corner always happy to see cavalry cards, but the reaction is just spectacular. After you gain fate for passing the Dynasty phase, gain 1 fate. Now this is kind of interesting because it encourages you to build toward a conflict character-based deck. I mean, again, like the Unicorn, the Courtier deck, which is fairly light on buying in the Dynasty phase, pretty heavy on buying conflict characters and other things. So after you gain fate for passing the Dynasty phase, gain a fate. So if you pass first, you gain 2 fate. That's enormous. That helps you afford, big things like cavalry reserves and conflict characters. So the Scout is, just super good.
Or anyone else like to weigh in on Shinjo Scout?
She'd be a bit better if she was 3 cost and 3/2, because you want to be invest heavily in her, and then start passing early and often. So this would be a better ability on a more expensive character. Buying a 2-coster, put 2 fate in her, you're probably not. But if she was a 3-coster, you totally would. And then being able to pass, make 3-coster, and then be like, here you go, cool, pass, I gain 2 fate. And you've got 4 fate to play with. And if you're playing a lot of conflict characters that are good, awesome. You can really go to work with that. So I think she's really good. I think she struggles for that a little bit, that she would be happier she could be optimized a little bit to be a little bit better. But hey, gating fate's really important in the game. Passing's really good. This card makes passing better. Awesome. We'll see play for that reason.
She can pay for herself. For every fate you invest in her to keep her around, she can pay it back to you every turn that she's around. So I think she's quite good just for that economic boost and just to have another body on the table. Obviously, assassination kind of ends that, but yeah, she's still. It's just a powerful card. It's fate manipulation in a deck that can really use it. So,
yeah, which once you factor in all those things, suggests a clever design from the designers, because you want to pass first, so you want to make a big character, but this is a small character. She returns fate, so you want to invest in her, but she's cheap and you can assassinate her easy. So there's lots of tug back and forth in it. This is a very, very cool character.
Yeah. Also, interestingly, she makes Way of the Unicorn better, because you want to be the first player with her in play to give yourself basically the first option to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I could, there's the potential here for, I think, does she break through better? I think you
break through better.
No, sorry. So basically what I'm looking at is, so you're looking at how can Unicorn leverage their economy. Well, how can Unicorn leverage their cards as an economy engine? So she's a start. So obviously you want to go first. You want to pass first. You play conflict characters, and then you start declaring conflicts, taking rings with fate on them, then potentially breaking through to take another card with fate in it. I don't know. I mean, it still sounds super weak, but at the same time, it's an economy engine for Unicorn that leverages the cards they have at the moment. I don't know, but whether or not that's crap, and it may very well be crap. Shinjo Scout is good, so it's nice to see Unicorn get a card and we can enthuse about.
Did Unicorn get a conflict character in the Imperial cycle?
No, not that I know of. Not that
No.
That's interesting. Because they could this is the kind of thing we really like to look at. Okay, so do they have a muscular 2-drop or 3 cost conflict character that can come out and really, like they've got cavalry reserves, of course, but they'd really like a good. I think that shapes their influence splash a little bit. About they want to look and say, okay, who can we get that adds a bunch of muscle to us? It's probably Crab, because Crab have some excellent conflict characters.
They're probably looking for the bigger guys because they can. Yeah, because
I think they're looking for Crane, if that's the case, because Crane fill in the political hole.
Yeah.
Political rival is a baller.
Maybe, but the unassuming Ojimbo with Gaijin Customs can conflict into both of the conflicts. So there's some fun stuff there. Maybe. So we've been dissing on some of the. We've been dissing on some of the cards, and we were super negative on Gaijin Customs. But maybe this is the intention. This is where they were looking to go all along.
Oh, they sold us a ringer and then turned it right around on us. The whites, dude. The whites.
They fake left. Yeah, they feinted left, went right, and then just slam dunked it on our ass.
All right, Silver-Tongued Magistrate, 3 cost 2/2, Bushi Imperial Magistrate for the Crane Clan, and has 1 glory. While this character is attacking, each other character has no fate that has no fate on it does not count its skill towards the resolution of this conflict. So we've seen this sort of theme of the magistrates where they prevent some guys from contributing in conflicts. This guy takes the theme of people without fate on them. Is it? How does this stack up against? Well, we've seen a couple of really good magistrates, but where does this guy sit, Baz?
So, the magistrates that you're able to control are obviously the best, and the magistrates where the scenario it can be orchestrated, are like kind of the next tier down. So in this case, this is a reverse of the Unicorn Magistrate. So you are able to you're able to pick away at those characters who have fate, remove the fate in some way. So if you trigger Void, or if you're getting an effect in that situation, or where Lion are dropping characters in, or Unicorn are doing a cavalry reserves, you're able to negate all of those. So it's good. I definitely think the Silver Tongue Magistrate is a good magistrate and is definitely worth playing. It's not one I think that many clans are going to be terrified of, but it is one where you are going to be set up. You're going to be able to set up turns and make serious decisions for your opponent, if that makes sense.
Okay. Any other views on the Silver-Tongued Magistrate?
I think I really thought the Lion one worked the way the Crane one does. That I thought if you swap those two, I think Crane do a lot better. I think Lion do a hell of a lot worse. Because it is a bit like they said, okay, we could just swap these two because no fate on a guy is no es bueno for Lion. Because, hey, they're all about the free guys from provinces and, discard piles and what have you. So, yeah, interesting. I think Crane came off the worst in that little deal. I think they would prefer to be able to leverage honor because they find it really easy to honor people, but don't get a massive amount off it. So, yeah. Okay, I think. But they have a tendency to make cheap guys with not a lot of fate anyway. So she doesn't obviously play to their strengths the same way that Phoenix and the Lion Magistrates do. And even the Crab Magistrate is at least a good denial tool. This one is harder to judge, but I don't think is going to be... Yeah, it isn't going to be as dominant. I think we'll have some of the same problems the Unicorn one does of being quite unpredictable to get value from and not having an obvious way to bring it into play in a pinch. Yeah, that's hurt as well.
Okay. Next along we have Talisman of the Sun. A 1 fate cost attachment for Unicorn, which is unique and it gives +1/+1. It's a Maishodo item and is for keeper role onlys with 2 influence. During a conflict in which you are the defending player, buy this attachment. Move the contested ring to another eligible province and reveal it if able. That province is now the attacked province. Justin, what are your thoughts on the Talisman?
Wowza, this is some card. Yeah. This is maybe the best defensive card in the game. So, yeah, it's really... It's really hard to. This is a fantastic card. This is an amazing card. The most, I suppose, the obvious late game application is if someone is knocking on the door of your stronghold, you can just keep on punting them into unbroken provinces or the remaining unbroken province until they take that as well. So it at the very least can buy you a turn, maybe more. And early game, if you get it down, it just makes you terrifying to attack. On the early conflicts, you will be throwing them into the most unpleasant province that you have, and there are lots of really unpleasant provinces. I mean, for Dragon and Lion, there's Feast or Famine, which is without question the most horrifying province to stumble onto early in the game. For like Unicorn, this could honestly push Unicorn back toward playing Endless Plains, because somebody runs in with a big dude, and well, you're guaranteed to hit the Endless Plains now.
Nope. There's interaction between Unicorn cards is verboten and not allowed.
Oh no, really?
It's only when you assign attackers, so moving someone will not trigger it.
So you get the reaction, you get the flip reaction of the province that was attacked, but you get the normal action of the province that now you're going to be moving into.
Well, in that case, I'm sure this card is going to put the final nail in the coffin for Endless Plains in that case, because now there's just no reason to play the card.
Yeah.
Okay, so it does the exact opposite of what I thought, but that's something. It's very, very strong at all stages in the game. It makes attacking incredibly risky. It buys you time at the end of the game if your stronghold is under threat. It's just incredibly powerful, and makes dragon and scorpion splashes look more tempting. Because I can only imagine that slightly, actually significantly worse than seeing this let go is having someone call in some favors and take your talisman for themselves. So,
yeah, Jesus. So that you have to hit Shameful Display every single time you attack.
Yeah, or Pilgrimage, or Secret Cache, or it's a murderer's row really for Scorpion. But yeah, it's a tremendously powerful defensive card, and yeah, I expect I would be gobsmacked if any Unicorn Splash does not include this. And I would be gobsmacked if Unicorn are not just playing 3 of this, because it's superb.
Owen, did you want to jump in on this card?
Yeah, huge card, huge card for Crab. This solidifies the Phoenix or the Unicorn Splash for Crab, because the potency you get from this, the ability to go right. I'm playing Dishonor. Okay, my row that you're attacking into is defend the wall. It's either Shameful Display or Pilgrimage. It's Before the Throne, and it's Meditations on the Dow. And whatever you attack with, you're going to go to something that you're going to dislike. If you go for a really big attack, we're going to Pilgrimage. I'm going to block with just enough to stop you breaking it, and you're going to get nothing. You go attack with a small attack, you go to defend the wall. You go for a super large all-out attack, you're going to Before the Throne, breaking that, and I'm taking 2 honor off you. You send a guy with a fate, you're going to Meditations of the Tau. All of your decisions become wrong. It's got a stat pump. It's +1/+1 for 1. The guy doesn't need to be there. You just bow it and away over it goes. It saves your province. It's huge. It protects Shameful Display. Like, one of the weaknesses of Shameful Display is the first defense to the turn of Shameful is easy. The second one is hard because you've used Shameful and they just go in and say it's a 3 province turning province. If you can move it away, it's even better. Like, it's a monster card to have to deal with. You use a public forum. Oh, look, you're breaking that one twice. Cool. It's horrible, because it's gonna make you miserable to attack into it. And I think people are gonna look at the Dragon Splash again, or they're actually gonna take a serious look at my Mystic and say, okay, I know you're terrible, but I think you might be worth it. You know?
So yeah, Pierre in chat is saying that he thinks this might be one of the best cards in the game at the moment. And since I played a game against his Crab deck just before we came on here, and he dropped this against me, and he was basically just farming provinces. Every time I attacked, he triggered the province I was in, moved me over to another province, and then triggered that again. It was brutal. So it was like constant Shameful Displays. It was in Meditations anytime it was relevant. What else did he have in there? It was just meditation, or yeah, he was
Fertile Fields, or
it wasn't Fertile Fields. It was the other one. He was getting Fate as well. But it basically whatever action this card basically says take another action off of one of your provinces, and your provinces should be fantastic. They should be great. It is keeper only. So yeah, we're mainly looking at Crab and possibly Phoenix. Phoenix, yeah, I may have to play Let Go. I know. And against in that last game, I played Let Go early for a functional purpose, and against decks that are running this, I may actually just have to stall it out and wait until that Talisman of the Sun appears, just so I can get rid of it. Like, it looks innocuous, but if you replaced the text on this with the text on your best province, for example, if this had the text of Shameful Display, there would be outcry. It would be ridiculous. And I think this might push the Unicorn Splash back into Phoenix. I know Justin's been playing around with the guard duty, but when you're able to consistently on the defense trigger Shameful every time, like that's horrific. And you're also getting the other province's ability out of it. This does currently look like it might be a meta-defining card. So what is it? It's Lion, it's Phoenix, it's Crab. They might be the top 3 clans, and they're clans that can all run this. So some form of item destruction held just for this may be essential to compete at the top tables.
Justin, would I be right in thinking like clans like Lion, who are quite honourable, wouldn't want to touch this because it's my Shoto?
Clearly, absolutely. Absolutely. And in fact, the Phoenix are very strongly against Meishoto, as we made apparent earlier in fiction. So as a Phoenix player, I would of course be, very reticent to lower myself to playing what amounts to Gaijin trash. And it's also the Ruby of Yuchiban. But on the other hand, it is also the Ruby of Yuchiban, which makes it amazing. So.
So you'll just have to, sacrifice yourself.
So, yeah, I'll just have to sacrifice a little dignity and probably play this.
Look after the blood magic artifacts.
Yeah.
Do you think there might be? Is this the first Maishoto card I've seen? Yes.
I think so.
Like, do you think this could be a theme of that they are powerful, or that they interact with provinces, or do something that sort of we haven't really seen much of otherwise?
I think it's a little bit of the old Unicorn thing of they have 2 movement cards. Their Seeker one, which is terrible, changes which province you're attacking, and this one is the one that works in the defense. So it's representing the old Unicorn thing of, hey, we're moving to a different battle, which is lovely to see again because it's classic Elf and War stuff. And yeah, it's I think that's part of it. And then they threw the Maishoto one on this one because that's maybe the better one, and they wanted, if Maishoto was going to be the first storyline pick, they wanted it to have some repercussions. I don't know, are they going to put some mechanical stuff later down the road about this, or do a storyline effect, or say, okay, yeah, you can play this card because you chose to allow Maishoto, or I don't know, we'll have to see.
Cool. And Sake's Brawl have pointed out that there's the Maishoto wielder in the base set.
No, they pointed out the welder.
He welds. Maishoto welder, for all your welding needs. Tagashi Mendicant, a 1/1/1, a dragon tattooed monk with 1 glory. Reaction: after the fate phase begins, look at the top 3 cards of your Dynasty deck and put them back in any order. Baz, what do you think of Tagashi Mendicant?
It's a bit of a weird one. You'd like a 0/3 or a 1/2 or something like that for 1, but that's getting greedy. A 1/1 for 1 is actually decent. This is a card that you can put into your Dynasty deck. You'll make it as the extra character for the turn when you're making your bigger 3-cost or 4-cost character. It'll stick around for a turn and then it'll go away. It's a monk, so there's a bunch of effects that you can use to trigger. It is quite good for high kick, so you can bow this 1/1 to bow their best character. The ability is a bit strange. So after the fate phase begins, so near the end of the turn, you get to look at the top 3 cards of your Dynasty deck and then rearrange them in any order you want. So people have been kind of trying to work out exactly the sort of things that you can use that for. The best one that we've come up for realistically is you can work out where your holdings and characters are going to be, and then you can place them onto the right province. So, for example, if you can see your Imperial Palace is going to pop up in the next 3 cards, you can choose it. You can make sure it gets put on a discarded card or a broken province if you want to make sure that it's going to stick around for that turn and not get taken. It also gives you a little bit of knowledge about what's going to happen the next turn, so you can maybe plan your discard properly. If you see that there's going to be a bunch of cheap characters, you might hold on to that big character, or vice versa. It's not an amazing ability, it's not an amazing character, but it goes into the deck, it supports some of the monk cards, and it will see play, and it's kind of cool.
Excellent. Anything else on Tagashi Mendicant? No. So last card in the pack is Written in the Stars, a Dragon Clan event for 1 cost. It's a Omen. Action. Select 1. Place 1 fate on each unclaimed ring with no fate, or remove 1 fate from each unclaimed ring. So back to some of the Dragon core of playing around with fate on rings, Baz?
Yeah, I haven't delved too much into those. The cycle's given a bundle of cards that let you do that. So yeah, you've got like the Jade Masterpiece, and you've got the Stone of Sorrow. I'm not sure about this card. Like, the immediate thing you can do is you can spend 1 to put 1 fate on everything, attack with your Seeker of Enlightenment, who gets +1/+1 for each fate on rings, and she becomes a 6/6 on turn 1 and you pick up that 1 fate you spent. I guess that seems okay. If you were playing around with those ring interactions, that might also make sense. But chances are you're going to be giving your opponent some fate as well, unless you've got the Stone of Sorrow down. Originally, and this is what Seki House Brawl are talking about, because they don't read cards. If you play one of them, it will put 1 fate on all of them. If you play a second one, it will take it off the rings. It won't bring it to you, unfortunately, which is actually a misreading that I made first time I had a look at this, which I think is a little unfortunate, because the second use doesn't seem great. You don't get... There aren't many situations where removing fate from all the rings is really going to benefit you. Because chances are, while you'll deny your opponent 1, you're also denying yourself 1, and you're spending 1 to do it. So that one's a tricky one. There might be some real niche scenarios where you're getting a proper lockdown or something like that. Yeah, I'm not too much of a fan of this card. I can certainly see situations where it would help with the Enlightened Warrior, because your opponent's definitely going to get a fade out of it. I think maybe if it had been 0 cost, I'd be happier. I might be including in all decks, I guess, if it was 0 cost. Or if it took 1 off of all the rings that had 1 and gave it to you, I'd probably put it in all decks. But I don't know. It looks like it might be a piece, but I'm not really seeing how it fits in.
Anything else on Written in the Stars, Owen?
It fits into Dragon's theme of either their conflict cards are amazing, environment-defining, incredible actions, or ludicrously niche effects that you might parlay into something big. And this one kind of feels like very, very niche. There might be a deck here. There is the whole monk deck, which is, hey, there's fate in all these rings. I do stuff with it, and I deny it to you. Yeah, maybe, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet. And like, there's sort of in theory it combos with the stone, but in practice it only combos with the stone on the first turn. But yeah, if you've got a bunch of guys who are like, awesome, I do stuff on those fade on rings, and you go first turn, put a fade on all of the rings, cool, I guess, maybe. But yeah, not for now.
Cool. Okay, so that wraps up meditations on the Ephemeral.
Oh, actually, could I just quickly swing back to one thing I forgot to mention? Just when I see that this is 2 influence, the Seal of the Dragon is 1 influence, totally breaking the mold. All right. So this means they can no longer keep doing 2, because it's already been ruined. That was a nice team, but we're done. We finally got our 1 card of 1 influence, so they can start giving Dragon realistic, normal influence rather than just constantly being 2, 2, 2, 2, 2.
Or it's time for some errata and make it the Seal the Dragon 2 influence.
Yeah,
maybe it's time.